I'm Pamela Portnoy, and no one's okay. No, drink it.
Spicy.
You cheers me without drinking it. Welcome back to No One's Okay. I am back. I am here today with the man, the myth, the legend who's struggling with that first sip of whiskey.
Second
sip of whiskey. Sean Moore.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How? Well, not okay, but we'll get there.
Oh, okay.
I'm so happy to have you back. This is our second go at this podcast because we've been having technical difficulties, and I'm so excited that you decided to come back.
Of course.
Sean is an amazing photographer. He
right.
does all He does all the cover art for No One's Okay, and additionally, like, works constantly in a bunch of stuff. She has left the building today.
You were never in the building.
Excuse me.
You got locked out.
You did lock me out.
I didn't lock you out. Someone else did.
Jason did. Jason locked me out. I know he's obviously listening. Anyway.
I hope so. Maybe.
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Pam. Let's do this again.
Let's do this fucking again. Why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about your journey to becoming the man in front of me today?
It's a long journey. Through the Himalayas. No. Where do I start? Cue me off.
When did you discover your passion for photography?
Well, a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
in a galaxy. No. I've always liked taking photos as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I never once thought of it as a career, and I switched majors 3 times, finally settling on photography.
What did you start with?
I was originally a psych major, and then I thought I had too many of my own problems to deal with someone else's problems.
Okay.
And then I switched to graphic design, and I realized I can't draw for shit.
Okay.
And then I switched to photography, not knowing like any of the avenues I could take it to or what I could do with it. Just wanted to take photos, and no idea what was out there for me. I had a good family friend tell me, do what you love and with that money will come. And that kind of resonated with me, and I've been doing it ever since.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been over 10 years now.
What's interesting to me is that you kind of it sounds like you went into college like kind of with a mindset of exploration.
I started off at Pierce, did the community college route that some people do.
I did Pierce for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It
Yeah.
was not a big commitment to go to Pierce, and then I didn't want to commit to like a big 4-year without knowing what I wanted to do. So I went to CSUN, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do for a couple of years, and I kind of, took the basic classes while I figured out what I wanted to do, and took my time,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up with photo.
Amazing. So, like, how do you feel like your photography has evolved since you've started?
Massively. I mean, my eye and what I enjoy shooting are changed very differently. It's a tough question. I mean, college was very fine art based, and now I'm very anti-fine art.
I want to hear more about that too.
In college, all my teachers insisted on me making fine art photography with some existential meaning behind the work, and you have to write a CV about your work, and you have to have reason and depth, and I don't want to do any of that. I just want to get paid to take photos. I don't want to have to write about my work. I don't want to have to write about why I decided to take a photo of some artsy-fartsy thing. Like, no one pays for fine art anymore. It's kind of like a dying thing, and I felt all my teachers were failed fine artists, which is why they chose to become teachers in the first place, because they couldn't succeed as commercial fine artists.
We hope they're not listening.
They've heard it from me before.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Okay.
I made my opinions very clear to them. So yeah, where was I saying? I'm not a big fan of fine art. I prefer commercial work where you don't have to have a meaning behind it. You make artwork. Like, you get paid to take photos.
So you don't think art should have meaning? It could just be
2 very different things. Art should have meaning, but if you're trying to make a living off of it, it's a lot harder. If you're trying to be a fine artist, there's a lot of work involved in being a fine artist, and your work must have a meaning, especially nowadays.
You posted a photo recently. I believe you posted the photo that we took on the salt flats.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Would you consider that like a fine art piece or more of a portrait?
It can be both. I mean, a fine art, it's it's a very tricky interpretation of fine art.
Yeah.
I think of fine art as like someone who makes work to be seen in galleries
Yeah.
and doesn't pursue commercial avenues of work. Like my goal is to work with advertising agencies and make work that's being printed and viewed from multiple people and help me sell a product. Fine art, the intention is to purvey a message, and the work should be displayed in a gallery and that route.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm taking these off.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
I feel so much better. I'm alive.
I just think it's really funny, you guys, because the only other person who hates the headphones is like one of your best friends,
I feel like
Jeremy
I'm talking in like
Edberg.
a fish tank.
I love it, actually.
It's
If
so
I could
weird.
walk around with this all day and just listen to the world through these, I would fucking do it.
Oh my god, no, it would drive me nuts.
I love it so much.
I'd walk in front of a car.
Anyway, okay, so how do you choose, like for instance, I'm talking about this photograph that he posted of a woman sitting down next to this canoe. It's a canoe technically, right?
But I mean, I enjoy doing conceptual work that does work that, in a sense, there is a fine art element to that. I mean, it's very fine art compared to just like a standard portrait you might see. It's very conceptual, but in the end, I'm trying to do that conceptual work to get more conceptual clients, to do conceptual advertising type work. So there's an end goal. It's not like I'm not making that because I'm trying to convey a specific message. I'm making that because my target audience that I'm trying to eventually work with creates that type of stuff for specific clients.
Got it. So where do you get your ideas? What, for instance, that particular photograph, which our audience can check out on his Instagram, which we will give out at the end, and it's in this little box underneath if you're watching or listening on all the platforms.
In general, or that specific shoot?
Both.
That specific shoot was partly inspired by the sense of isolation one got during the pandemic, especially the first few months when the whole world was locked down. We were all separated from our friends and family. It was a very new experience for many people. I'm sure everyone can relate to some extent. And in general, I mean, my ideas from other people's work, photographers that I follow, life experiences, it's kind of all over the place. There's not one. Artists can't have one source of inspiration. It's from anywhere and everywhere.
What I think is interesting is that you just said you can get inspiration from other photographers and seeing their work. And I know particularly for the latest cover art for No One's Okay, we kind of use some inspiration from other photographers and other shoots. How do photographers look at it when someone kind of does their own interpretation of their work?
I mean, I know there's two sides of that coin.
Do people get annoyed and also other people love it?
I mean, there's an old saying in art, there's no such thing as new art, only repurposed art.
Interesting. Who says that?
I've heard the phrase tossed around.
Okay.
I don't know if it's attributed to one person, but in a sense, everything's been done before. Of all the different things that have been done by artists, most likely someone else has done something very similar before, especially this day and age when it's so easy to access a camera and digital software. Most likely someone has done something similar.
For sure.
But just because they have doesn't mean that you can't do something similar as well,
You're cracking me up right now because Jeremy basically said on his episode, he said, well, all the stories have been told. In Shakespeare, basically, most stories have already been told earlier on, but they're just adding things and taking evolving them.
I mean, you can tie most pieces. I mean, you can find a correlation between most pieces of art to something else. Avatar is literally a ripoff of Return of the Jedi and Dancing with Wolves.
Interesting. You're right.
If you dig hard enough, you can find correlations between most things in artwork. So it's very subjective.
So I feel like the line could be kind of fuzzy between ripping off, paying homage to, using it as an inspiration for a project?
I mean, if it's like if you're doing like an ad campaign and it's a direct copy of a different campaign that had the same message and the lighting and everything's down to a T, yes, that can be considered a ripoff. But like if you're there's a fine line of what is a ripoff and what's not, and there's so many factors. Like it's hard to just say one is a copy and one's not. Like in the world of photo, everything's been done before.
Yeah.
Nothing's new these days. Everyone's been shot on a different color background. There's so many variations. What makes it's hard to do something new these days.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you like what has been your favorite project that you've worked on so far, or the one that stands out to you most?
I really enjoy building sets, so I've done quite a few different shoots on sets that I've built myself. They've all been themed from like Victorian Gothic to like Mad Men, and those are my favorite because I love building stuff. So being able to build a set from scratch, I build the walls, I decorate the whole set with my art director, and it's a fun collaborative project. And that's ultimately what I want to be doing in the ad world is large scale jobs, building out sets and shooting on sets like that.
That's amazing. Are there other photographers that that's what they focus on, is that they build out their own sets and they do their own photography?
They would have someone build them for
Yeah,
them.
because I feel like that's very like a specific, very niche kind of skill for photography.
I mean, it gets to a point where you would have someone else do it for you, but you would have your hands in the project. You'd be creatively involved. It gets to, I mean, there's only so much you can do at a certain point because a project is so big, it requires multiple pieces and hands in the project, but you would still be heavily involved, and that's what I would ultimately like to be doing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What are some of the craziest on-set stories? Because I know you've worked with some pretty amazing individuals.
Craziest story, I mean, Faye Dunaway throwing a fit and throwing boxes of jewelry across the room. It's probably the worst. Yeah, Faye Dunaway is.
What about good crazy?
I don't know. I can't think of anything offhand. Is there something that's you're referring to?
I'm thinking about Snoop Dogg.
Oh, I mean that's just another. I mean, those days just blend together because I mean, I got to smoke with Snoop Dogg on set. That was fun.
Amazing.
It doesn't like stand out because it's just like it's like another day on the job, and every day is different with unique challenges and situations. So it's cool.
That's so cool. So what have you been working on lately?
To be honest, not much. I've been in a bit of a rut the past few months, but I've been busy with photo jobs, so I've been staying busy, but I haven't been working on much personal work lately. That's a hard thing as an artist, is to constantly like make new work that you're inspired by, not just paid work. It's
Because you're constantly working on sets and things, so I imagine finding the energy to create your own concepts or the inspiration or the
hard.
time even.
It's hard. All the above are very hard, but clients want to see that. Clients want to see that you're making new work. If a client goes to your website and then they go back 6 months later and they see nothing new, they're not going to be. It's hard. It's a hard sell to want to hire you at that point.
It's very similar with acting, I feel.
Yeah, if your latest reel is from 3 years ago,
Yeah.
They want to see how you evolve. They want to see what you're inspired. They want to see what makes you tick. And if you're not making new and fresh stuff, they're not going to want to hire you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Tell me more about your woodworking. What have you been working on?
I'm building a credenza right now.
Uh-huh.
And it's been taking up the past month and a half of my time.
Amazing.
I've been building furniture since high school. I took a couple breaks here and there because of college and whatnot, but I've been doing it seriously for about 5.5 years now. Since graduating high school,
It's really cool that's where you started, because I feel like a lot of people look at those classes in high school as kind of like a pain in the ass rather than a true inspiration to start a hobby or a job.
Most people did think of woodshop in high school as a pain in the ass, and to a degree it was. It's very rudimentary. You're in a big group setting, but because me and another student were really into woodshop, the teacher, with our help, we started an advanced class that was dedicated to the students that were like really involved in woodshop, and we helped get our school a $20,000 grant to help like revamp our woodshop. So yeah, I mean, because of me and another student, we kind of helped rebuild the program at our high school.
That's really
Yeah.
neat. Do you like listen to music? Are you more meditative when you're working? What goes on in your head when you're working in the
If
wood
power
shop?
tools are running, no music, no weed, nothing. You got to be 100% laser focused, and that's usually how. I mean, if I'm like,
Safety first, guys.
yeah, I've had close calls, and it's not worth it. So you got to be 100% clear headed, no music, sleeves rolled up. No, you got to be. Your balls got to be in the game. Your head's got to be in the ball game.
Yes,
Yeah,
very well put,
not
Sean.
not half a glass of whiskey deep.
Very good. Cheers, by the way.
Mm.
Again, this time take a sip. Why don't you? Excellent. You are a very well traveled man.
I like to think so.
Where have been your latest adventures? I know the answer to this question.
I just got back from Jordan and Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
the Middle East. Phenomenal. If you haven't been, you got to go.
Tell us a little bit about Valley of the Kings.
So in Egypt, in the city of Luxor, on the west bank of the Nile River, is the Valley of the Kings and the Valley of the Queens. Both Valley of the Kings is 64 plus tombs for the various pharaohs of Egypt. King Tut, Ramses 1 through 9 actually are all there. Probably the coolest place I've ever been, or one of. The amount of history in this one small location, the amount of architecture, and I mean, it's incredible. You got to see it for yourself.
Amazing.
Pictures don't do justice.
I feel like that's really, really true because I feel like everyone's seen like the very typical, images of, the pyramids and like the Sphinx and certain hieroglyphs and all that stuff. But
I've actually never seen photos of the inside of the tombs from Valley of the Kings in my whole life. Like you see photos of hieroglyphs in like high school or in textbooks. You see the pyramids, but I've never once seen photos of the tombs at the Valley of the Kings. It had no idea what I was expecting to see, and it was the most mind-blowing thing I've ever seen in my life.
why?
You're going down, passages that are as big as this room. They go 100 feet deep, and they're ornately carved into the side of a mountain, and you would have no idea it's even there.
What did it feel like? Was it cold? Was it hot? What did it smell like? What do you remember?
It was definitely hot inside, hot and a little humid because you're going underground.
Yeah.
Not much of a smell
Okay.
because there's not too many people down there, and the air kind of gets circulated around, so there's no odors. But I just remember being mind blown, like just seeing the amount of. I mean, every square inch of the floors and the walls and the ceiling is all covered in hieroglyphs. It's all painted. It's pretty incredible to see that much. And you can only go in 4 of the tombs, but there's 64 of these tombs in the whole valley.
Wow.
So, and they're all about the same size and depth.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I was asking that because, when something life-changing or unique comes through my life, I and I'm like aware that it's like a pivotal or important or memorable moment. I tend to have a hard time focusing. It's like everything goes a little bit blurry because I don't know if it's like my blood pressure, if like I'm really excited. It's like I'm trying to remember, but it's like almost like
I
a
don't want to
moment
sound
that I'm trying to hang on to.
I don't want to sound jaded, but like travel isn't life-changing for me anymore.
It does sound a little jaded when you say
It does.
that.
It does. But like at the same time, like I've seen how people live in multiple places throughout the world. I kind of like I've seen the worst in a sense, so nothing shocks me anymore in a sense. Like I've seen the worst conditions people live in, and
But what about when you see something like mind-blowing, like the...
I mean, it's incredible, but like it doesn't. I don't feel that it's life-changing. Is that?
Or just like when you're in a moment that you want to remember. I know when I'm in a moment and I'm like, oh my God, I like want to memorize this moment.
I mean, part of it is like,
feels
but
more
like,
fleeting.
But like, I take photos of these moments and I preserve them, so I always can look back at these images. And knock on wood, I'm pretty good at taking photos. So I have like,
yeah,
I
have to say you are pretty.
I have
good
like
at it.
decent memories to look at. It's not like just crappy snapshots of like the entire trip, or I didn't like hold the camera backwards the entire time to take selfies.
Yeah.
So there's that, but to me, travel is more about the experience, and part of it is like living in the moment and almost not remembering these. It's just like being present in the moment and savoring the experience is more important to me than like remembering 30 years later where and when it happened and what it was like.
Yeah, I suppose so. And don't they say that the more you try to remember something, the more you start to change it in your head?
I've never heard that, but
It
it's not,
makes kind of
yeah,
it
it
does
makes
because you're
perfect
putting your
sense.
own
Yeah,
interpretation.
it's like the game of telephone.
Yes, with your own brain.
Yeah,
That's fascinating.
that's a weird twist.
Very, very good. What tips would you give to someone? Like, not tips. What would you say is your process when it comes to like deciding how you're going to go about your trips?
Well, first is, I mean, I prefer traveling with a friend always.
Yeah.
It makes things logistically easier. It's always good to have a second person, especially when you're going to places that are obscure or not like Europe is easy to
Not as
travel.
populated, not as popular.
Not populated as I wouldn't say because Egypt is packed for people, but
In the places that you were?
I mean, Cairo is 24 million people. It felt more packed than like Los Angeles in some places.
Okay.
Um, I just like traveling with friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, solo is fine, but like I've the few times I've done solo, I've enjoyed more when I'm with friends. We get to share the experience, and it's always fun. Um, I feel like people make traveling seem to be this hard, obscure thing that like only the elite can do when it's not. I feel like they have this false belief you have to stay in these like bougie hotels and it's just like all or nothing and there's no easy way. I'm like, that's not the case. I've traveled many places on small budgets and had a great time and I'm not sacrificing any experience. So
Yeah.
a good amount of due diligence will go a long way.
Can you tell a little bit about the story when you went to Cambodia, about the body of water that you fell into?
You mean when I took acid and swam with bioluminescent plankton?
Shit.
Is that what you're like, itching at?
I wanted to hear about the bioluminescent plankton. You've just volunteered that information.
Well, because that's like half the experience. We took acid and swam with bioluminescent plankton under a new moon, so there was no moon out that night. And we were surrounded by a 360-degree thunderstorm, but it wasn't raining on us. So we look out in the distance, and lightning would like light up the mainland, which was 10 miles away probably.
How long was the storm?
I mean,
I'm assuming it's hard to tell
we
your state of mind.
we sat in the water for about 2 hours, and when we left, right as we got back to our room, which was a half-mile walk away, it started raining on us. So there was 2 hours of rain surrounding us that never hit us, and it was pitch black outside, and you just glow underwater like Avatar. It was incredible.
What color was was it green?
Blue.
Blue.
Bright blue.
Gorgeous.
It was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
I remember like when I was in college, my friends lived right on the beach in Newport,
Mm-hmm.
and at night at certain times of year we would look out at the waves and
Yeah,
it
you
would
see
glow
it.
green.
Yeah, you see bioluminescence, which is
So
it's
cool.
so I've seen it in Newport too, but
I never swam in it.
and the water's cold in Newport and there's like a bit of a current, so we just sat in like a bay where there was no current and it was perfect. It was one of the coolest things. It was like probably my coolest experience I've ever done in my whole life, and I would die to go back there and do it again.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I know that you are a fan of tattoos.
Oh, also, don't bring acid through Chinese customs.
Jesus.
Just heads up, do not do that. It's a bad idea. If anyone wants to go to Cambodia and do this experience, don't go through China.
What happened?
Nothing happened. Knock on
You
wood.
just heard.
Knock on wood, nothing happened. I just got like fingerprinted twice and I went through like a full body x-ray and like all this nonsense just to go back through the same process to get to my connecting flight. So don't bring drugs through
Oh my
airports.
God. We're going to have to edit this shit down.
Oh, you don't. You gotta leave it in there.
Very good, Sean. Very good. Your tattoos, you get them when you travel.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually only had 2 when I've traveled.
How many do you have total?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20.
Damn, an even 20. Can you show that camera he's jumping up and down on the trampoline.
Hi, guys. And also, we got a
little mustache. Very good. Very good.
It's a backup stash because sometimes I fuck up and I shave this one bad and I look like that one asshole from 1940 to 45 that everyone hates.
That one asshole.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting because you were just talking about how one side grows longer than the other. So that might be the issue.
Maybe.
You get a little overzealous.
Maybe. It very well might be.
I just want everyone to know that Sean asked me if one side of my hair grows longer than the other.
It was a valid question. It might.
Does anyone out there experience this? I want to know. Put it in the comments.
It's a valid question.
Very good. So, it's time for silly questions to take super seriously.
Ooh, all right.
Best cookie.
Oreos. Well, hold on.
Wait,
hold on.
I know that's not what you really think.
Store-bought or homemade?
Okay. You're going to have to answer both.
Okay, homemade, obviously my ginger cookies are the best. Store-bought Oreos.
What makes your ginger cookies? And believe me, I know what they taste like and I know what they're about. But what makes them so amazing?
The blood, sweat, and salty tears that I put into them.
You literally are putting tears into the cookies that you
make
me?
I'm crying over my bowl of cookies because
Pam
they're so good.
is going to love these so much.
Exactly. It's the right ratio of salty tears to blood that makes them so good.
Oh, it got vampiric, didn't it?
And a little bit of crack.
Sean.
Just a little bit.
Just enough.
Well, no, I mean, I know what enough is, but there's not enough. There's just a little bit. Just a little bit to spice it up.
Okay, and store-bought is obviously a good Nabisco Oreo.
Yeah, they're also vegan, if anyone didn't know that.
What is the center made of?
I don't know, vegan filling. I don't know what vegans eat.
Probably nothing that anyone can pronounce.
No, a bunch of chemicals, but there's no animal stuff in it, so...
For all you vegans out there, that's very good news.
Because people go to Trader Joe's and they eat JoJo's as a healthy alternative, but JoJo's are bullshit.
Why?
Because they're bullshit. Fuck you, Trader Joe's.
You're so... Okay, first of all, a lot of people like those, and I like those too. And I like the Justin's Peanut Butter Cups, and I gave you one once on our road trip to Utah, and
it was stale.
Spat it. It wasn't stale. You spat it out because it was a healthy alternative to a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Stale.
No, it wasn't stale. It's just it's a different. I had one in the. You think I gave you my only peanut butter cup?
Well, I had the stale
I care
one.
about you, but not that much.
I had the stale one. That's why it was all chalky, and I had to spit it out.
It's chalky because that's how it is.
Oreos are vegan.
Very good.
JoJo's are awful.
Anyway.
What's next?
Great question. I had one lined up and I wanted to ask you what the proper process is for tasting a whiskey. And do I need to pour more in your glass so you can demonstrate
I would love a little bit more whiskey.
Okay. I'm going to try to cover the label so that people can't tell what we're drinking. That was a very strange noise. Let me do that again. Our listeners are going to hate me. That was a really good sound. All right, Sean.
All right. First step.
First of all, can we tell them like why you're qualified to?
I mean,
in my eyes, you're qualified. You've taught me a lot about whiskey.
I've been a member of a whiskey society for going on 7+ years now, and I consider myself a bit of a connoisseur.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert quite yet, but I have a good understanding of whiskey.
You've helped me a lot with my taste in whiskey.
Honestly, you just gotta try a lot and figure out what you like. There's no wrong or right.
And I don't want to like badmouth any company because like any company that would, potentially sponsor this, I'm so down. But you saw me pull out this bottle for this episode because I can't drink wine with you. It's whiskey.
Yeah.
And you're like, is that blank blank? And I said, fuck no, it's not. And you're like, good. And I could have sworn I felt a tinge of, I taught her well.
I definitely did teach her well. She does not drink
blank blank.
Am I not allowed to say it?
No, we're not going to say it.
Okay.
Very good. So, Hit me with the process.
First, smell. Smell with an open mouth.
Why?
Because when you open your mouth, it pushes your tongue up against the roof of your palate, so the nose or the fumes don't come into your mouth; they go straight back. It's like a weird biological process. There, like I don't fucking get it fully.
I felt that deep. It came down to here on my chest.
And
I'm
then
pointing at my sternum.
smell through each nostril too, because each nostril might detect a little bit of a different scent.
I have a little bit of a deviated septum. Is that going to be a problem?
I don't know.
Okay, now what?
You smell anything different between each nostril?
No.
Okay, well, describe the smell.
It's like
there's no wrong answer. It's just what
I feel like it's a little bit honey.
Okay.
And a little bit like not maybe like caramelly and a little bit of like
molassesy or
yeah,
like syrupy
yeah.
or again there's
not
no
syrupy.
Okay.
Syrupy, I don't like that.
Okay. There's no wrong answer. Everyone's.
What did you smell?
Some like vanilla notes.
Hell yeah.
Definitely some like caramelly honey notes.
Uh-huh.
And maybe a little bit of almond.
Okay. That's very specific. Your nose is honed in.
I also like, I have a pretty good idea of what I like, and I've done tastings for what I like, so I kind of know what to expect with different whiskeys.
Yeah.
Step 2 is get a little bit on your finger.
Oh, God. Right in there.
Rub it in your hand.
You never did this with me.
I'm pretty sure I did. And then,
you don't remember, Pam. Okay.
And you can
My hands are clean, guys. Who taught you this?
The spirit guides at the bar that I'm a member at.
Excellent. I love that they're called spirit guides because it makes it sound like something else.
You feel like you're gonna have like a Ouija board and like they're gonna like resurrect the dead or something.
Okay, you rub your hands together and then you smell it.
Yeah, and again, what do you smell?
The same thing plus my hands.
Anything else?
It's like it's warmer. It's like sweeter, warmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's just another way of trying to like break down the different notes that you're tasting.
Interesting.
Or smelling. Next step is to have a small sip.
Okay.
The key to having a small sip is kind of letting it sit on the front of your tongue and then let it roll backwards, because your tongue has at a minimum 5 different regions of flavor. There's sweet, salty, savory, umami, and sour.
Yeah.
And they're all.
I thought umami was a combination of all the flavors.
I could be wrong. That's what I've been told.
That's what I explained to Jeremy the other day at dinner. It was just Sean's birthday. Happy birthday, Sean.
Thank you.
All the flavors on your tongue, and you want it to hit every part.
So when you do a shot and you gag, it's because you're overpowering all your taste buds at once, and you're also shooting alcohol fumes down your stomach.
Really? That's why?
Yeah, the gag reflex is the alcohol vapors going into your stomach, and your stomach is trying to like get those out because alcohol and vapors.
It's poison.
Yeah. So you do a very small sip, kind of let it roll around, hit each region separately, and kind of really analyze that taste, and then exhale so that you blow the vapors out.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Cheers.
Cheers, Sean. You're welcome for those sound effects, you guys. It's very good.
What do you taste?
I taste it. It's milder now.
Okay.
Strangely. I don't know what to specify. What do you taste?
Some spicy woody tones.
Yeah.
And like some vanilla tones.
Interesting. I don't know if this is interesting at all to our listeners, but I hope this like compelled them to like
buy a bottle of whiskey and try it.
Just try it. Well, not irresponsibly, but like try it.
No, it's juice.
It's juice.
It's just juice.
Sean, delightful. I learned something new every day.
Good. I hope so.
This is wonderful.
That's the goal of life.
Are you okay?
Is that for me or in you in general, or?
I'm asking if you're okay.
Yeah.
No.
As of right now, I'm okay.
Are you better or worse than okay?
I mean, I would say I'm better than okay.
Okay. What's going on in your life?
I'm still alive.
Yes.
Things are moving.
Good.
I'm making moves in life.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm doing good. Just had a great birthday with friends.
Yeah, you did.
I got an awesome apple pie from Pam.
I got him an apple pie because the first time we tried recording this episode, we were hungry after, and Sean wanted to get an apple pie, and there was no apple pie to be found anywhere, which was kind of shocking.
On a Friday night.
Yeah.
Was it a Friday?
Or I don't know what day it was, actually.
Whatever. There's no apple pie, and it was a travesty.
And so I brought him a pie for his birthday. And apparently he ate too much and got sick.
Yep. Definitely happened.
Very good. Happy birthday, Sean.
Thank you. Don't eat a quarter of pie to yourself at once.
Okay. Good call.
Just in case it crossed your mind.
I feel like if you were going to have pie, have a smaller slice and maybe pair it with a whiskey. I feel like it has complementary tastes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
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 Maybe like a hot toddy or like a
with like
or like a hot buttered whiskey.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
You know what I had when I went to go see the lanterns? I think I was telling Alexa on my last episode. At Calabasas, they have a lantern show for Halloween.
Okay.
And it was amazing. It was like over a mile walk, and it was so beautifully lit, and they were serving themed drinks. They had like bars throughout the
nice.
walk.
Where in Calabasas?
Near Mulholland.
Okay.
Yeah, amazing. Like Mulholland and Las Virgenes.
Okay.
And I know that they're going to be doing a Christmas event there too, which will be really fun.
Great.
I'm going to go. But yeah, they had like themed drinks, and they did like a pumpkin apple hot cider that was like delicious.
Nice.
Yeah. It was like lit, but also like warm, and it was lovely.
That's great.
Yeah. Very good.
Fuck yeah.
Hit up some whiskey and some pie.
Whiskey
If you're
and
of
pie is
age.
a great combo.
Yes, very good.
Whiskey goes with anything.
You're so right. I'm trying to think of something that it doesn't go with.
You just have to find the right whiskey.
You're right.
And there are thousands of types of whiskey out there.
That's very true. I love this so much.
Indeed.
I love having a glass of whiskey with you.
It's probably the best person to have whiskey with. Cheers.
You are?
One of.
Excuse me. I love the confidence.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love having whiskey with you. And you're like, yeah, I know. You should.
Yeah. Rightfully so. I taught you everything you know about whiskey.
Excuse me. Not everything, but a lot of it.
Most of it.
A lot of it. I was a
Cheers.
fan before we met. Or, I mean, re-met.
Remet.
Because we knew each other how long?
Second grade.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to that, we haven't seen each other since 2018.
We reconnected in 2018, but we haven't seen each other since like 2000.
I'm not even going to attempt to figure out when second grade was.
Well, we graduated elementary school in 2000.
There we go.
Yeah, so I haven't seen you since then. It's been 18 fucking years.
Wow.
And now we're back.
Podcasting.
We're back.
Fucking doing it.
Mm-hmm. Sean, where can our listeners follow you?
Preferably not behind me while I'm driving, because I might think you're chasing me, and I might brake check you.
Hilarious.
On my Instagram or my website, which is SeanMoore.com or at SeanMoorePhoto.
Beautiful.
I think.
Follow him. He's amazing. He does some really, really, really cool portraiture and product shoots and headshots.
All the fun stuff.
Shebang.
Lots of cool stuff with Pam on there.
Oh yeah. I ask Sean for photos all the fucking time. All the fucking time.
And I happily oblige.
Yes, thank you. Yes, of course. Why wouldn't you?
I usually get pie or whiskey
You're
out of it.
very lucky to have a bottle like me, just as I am lucky to have someone to drink whiskey with.
Exactly.
Sean, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I hope this works out round 2.
I know it did. I could feel Jason's excitement from the other side of the wall.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers are crossed that the program won't break down. All is well.
Jason didn't fall asleep or anything.
No, Jason's the best. The program is the shit. Okay. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. I don't know. See you next time. Bye. This podcast was produced by Jason Crow and me, Pamela Portnoy, with music by Jordan Ross Weinhold. You can follow the show on Instagram and Facebook at No One's Okay, and please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. We love kind reviews. No One's Okay is also on YouTube, so if you want to see our faces, please subscribe to our channel. An extra special thank you goes out to Sean Moore, Claire Palmer, Jackson Palmer, Tiffany Haymoff, and Alexa Marie Anderson. This podcast was recorded at Soundworks Studios. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.